Because they fall and pass away, the men who made it, the men of the order pass away. He became a helper to the manna. He tasted and caressed him and put his blessing on him. From his blessing he laid on him and consolidated him in the Ginza of his fathers. Life is victorious over all works. Sixth piece. I am a manna of the great life. I am a manna of tremendous life. I am a manna of the great life. I am strengthened by the grace of my Father. I am strengthened by my Father's grace. I shine in the splendor about which she enlightens me. Still I could not rejoice at the mercy of my Father. Do not yet understand the splendor about which she enlightens me. Insidious they put me in the Tybalt. They drove me out of my place and my place. They drove me out and took me out of my place. They drive me out of my Father's house. The maker of bodies shall be smitten and put to death. He created the world with his plans. The planets are to be beaten and cursed, who were at the forefront of his creation. I want to escape from under your hand. I will go and accept the grace of my Father, and I will accept the splendor about which he enlightens me. I want to rejoice at all his treasure, and be perfected by all of his wisdom. How the manna stands and ponders, is the man his helper approaching. The great helper comes near. If you want to accept the grace of your Father, accept the splendor about which he enlightens you. When you accept all of your treasure and rejoice in it, you will want to be perfected by all of your wisdom. If you want to set yourself up right, stay and live in the world. Stay and live in the world until your measure becomes full of you, until your measure becomes full, and quite will be the number that they awarded you when I want to come to you with rich splendor and with light without end. For a long time I waited and lived in the world until my measure was full. My measure was full and my number was gauze. Then my helper came to me. He took me away from their midst and lifted me up and set me up in the house of perfection. I understood the grace of my Father. I understood the brilliance about which he enlightened me. I was delighted with the treasure that my Father created and was perfected by his wisdom, and life is victorious. Seventh piece. A manna am I of the great life. I am a man of tremendous life. I am a manna of the great life. Who threw me into the misery of angels? Who threw me into the misery of angels, who are ugly, whose scent smells bad, and whose shape is ugly and misshapen? Even ugly is her figure, who threw me under them. How should I grow up among them, where their residences are not suitable for me? How should I dress her robe and live in your space? How the manna stands and seeks to clarify himself. His helper came to him and made him hear a bright call he made him hear, and spoke to him in brilliant speech. Abominable is the smell of angels, but do not care about their smell, since it is on you when their shape is misshapen. Why are you asking about them? You heard our voice. Our imperishable speech was heard by you. We spoke to you with our brilliant speech. So stay and live in the house of misery. The angels are hideous. Her own darkness made her hideous. Look at us and keep yourself pure, and turn your gaze to your place. Turn your gaze to your place. We are yours. We are with you, and your form shines through us. When he spoke thus to the manna, he prayed a righteous prayer. He performed a proper prayer and prayed in firm words. I heard my helper. Now I will endure and dwell in the world. I want to endure in the world and live in it as long as my helper likes it. If my helper likes it, let him go and come to me. He will go and come to me and get me out of the misery of the angels. Out of the misery of the angels he'll get me. Their shape is ugly and misshapen. Soon my helper came. He brightened me up and enlightened me. He took me out of my body and led me away under his escort. He brought me according to the treasure to which he went, and strengthened me in the place where he was strengthened. He strengthened me and made fellowship with me, and counted me on his own account. Life is held high and is victorious, and victorious is the man who went here. Eighth piece. A manna I am of the great life. I am a manna of mighty life. I am a manna of the great life. who I left to come into the world. To get into the world I broke up. Their inhabitants do not notice it at all. Don't your residents notice me altogether? Not all worlds perceive me. For a long time the eons did not notice me, until I was thrown into the hull, and Adam stood on his feet. Adam stood on his feet, while sleep overwhelmed him. When Adam stood on his feet, he cursed the man, his creator. He cursed the maker of bodies, in whose hands his works did not become right. Then his works were justified in his hands, until he created Adam, until this one resembled his image, until he was full of living fire, how his father had filled him with it. He created and did not make it right, until he created the wrong hull. He created the wrong hull and the empty hostel. They drove me away from my place, and drove me out of the midst of my brethren. They drove me out of the midst of my good brothers, from the midst of the well-armed, well-equipped. When will I leave the hull, and will entrust him to destruction, and will leave his works? Will the rebellious ruin close? I will ascend to my place. The planets will then fall down without getting up. How the manna stands and enlightens himself, and his helper came to him, as well as his own protectors, and the great and good one who accompanied him. O manna, leave this world. The perversity that pained you will become their own masters. The sleep you woke up from, take over, it will turn and press on you. Up, dress with the rich luster, and cover yourself with the expensive light. Tie the belt of open eyes around you. He is all eyes, all eyes. The manna ascended from them, and the planets surrender to the suit. Every day they surrender to the lawsuit. Every day they eat around me. They lie on mats. The evil ones are sitting there like prisoners. The manna ascended to the house of life, and did not brood in grief and lamentation. In grief and lamentation he did not ponder. Where was nothing wrong with him? There was nothing wrong with him. He took nothing from them. In secret they set me up, and based me on the image of the great life, and blessed be the great life. Ninth piece. I am a manna of the great life. I am a manna of tremendous life. I am a manna of the great life, who seeks to clarify himself in his sense. Why has my figure changed? Where are you taking me? To which place still do you want to remove my Shkinta? They want to take me away, their brilliant speeches. They want me out of their prayers, which they do in the house of perfection. They want to take me away from the pure glimmer of light, and let them live in a smelly robe. When I see that robe, who will come and take me over? Who will be a caller to me? Who will be a great helper for me? Who will sit down with me and caress me, that I do not forget from here, from my place, what I have? How the manna stands and ponders. His helper held him tightly. His helper gripped him tightly, and became a caller to him. Your radiance coming from life is extended and great. Why do you call him a glimmer of light? To take away the shine, and cut off the light from the robe. The good ones are missing, although they have not yet seen what is ugly. Where you haven't seen what's ugly, why are they missing and passing away? Then the man with his loud mouth, he answered, the helper who had strengthened him, I was full of lacking. Now you have supported me, and the light has become abundant. You have supported me now, the light has become abundant, and strength and firmness came in. Abundance by the power of my great helper, through the strength of the man who strengthened me. He gripped me tightly with his right hand, and transferred his essence to me. Through his rays placed over me, I lived in the stinking body, and did not ponder. The hours dragged on, the gravy pulled together, and the course of the world was divided. The 7 stars were distributed, and the shortage pressed on her. My great helper came, and made me take off the body of death. The body of death he let me undress, and clothed me in the splendor of his rays. He taught me about the Mass for the dead, which they kept from any place. He and his great helper light up in the Shkinta. In a Shkinta they shine and live in praise. A victory has been created for them, and they take half the share of the grace. You are looking to lighten up in a Shkinta, and how to try to lighten up. You will be enlightened, and blessed be life. 10th piece. I am a manna of the great life. I am a manna of mighty life. I am a manna of the great life, who enlightened himself through the enlightenment of his Father. From you, my Father, I receive instruction. You became an assistant to me. You became a helper to me. Tell me where you are sending me. To this the forefather replied, and spoke to Mana, the son of the mighty, "We will send you here to your place, which the Uthras, the sons of salvation, created. If you send me there, tell me who of the Uthras created the place. Tell me who created him from the Uthras, so that I can bear the misery that is on him when I, my forefather, am thrown into it." The Mana descended to the world, to the world the Mana descended. He came there and fell into misery. He came there and fell into misery, and sighing receiving him. The Mana complains and sighs that he was cut off from his place. My gentle father did not protect me. He didn't teach me about every single thing, and did not enlighten me about the world. Now that I have descended and reached her, they are all filled with wickedness. How much should I hear from her? How much of their suffering endure? I am hurt and sorry that my father would not let me hear anything of his speech. Nothing made my father hear me from his speech. He did not give me any advice from the believers. When my gentle father likes it, send me a man, a helper. He sends me a helper, a first helper, in whose shkinta everything he says is heard. You know, Mana, who created the world, and you have been advised what is right. When the Mana heard this, he pondered over the world. I want according to the word of my good father, living in a void body. I want to stand and live in it for so long as my father liked it. When my father likes it, he will come and take me out of your midst, because I am hurt and sorry in your foul smell. I feel hurt and sorry for the wrong talk and listen which is peculiar to you. You speak and listen in falsehood and do vain works. I spoke in the speech of life that was sweet and pleasant to my father. It was sweet and pleasant to my father, and he sent his helper to me. He sent his helper who speaks and is heard in his shkinta. I opened my eyes, and they were filled with light. I opened my mouth and praised him. He did not find me lacking and lacking. If you know that I have missed against your speech, leave me in my body in my place. Then my first helper replied and spoke to Mana, the son of the mighty. Be silent and be calm, Mana, son of the mighty, be silent and be calm. Mana, you have not missed. No, you did the rest. If I have done the rest and did not miss now, what is it that you have done to me? When he heard this from him, he took him out of his body. He took him out of his body and performed hymns. He calmed him, redeemed him, and raised him up. He lifted him up and showed him the great Lord of perfection, and set him up in expensive splendor. Life is held high and is victorious, and victorious is the man who went here. 11th piece. I am a Mana of the great life. I am a Mana of the mighty life. I am a Mana of the great life, who made me want to wear a physical garment. As long as I lived in him, there was no lack of him. I did not miss and did not pass me by, and did not accept any mistake. I made no mistake and did not create any offense in front of me. There was no mixture on me. I did not turn my speech away from my Father's speech. I shine by the power of my Father, by the man who has made me live in physical garb. He let me live in a physical garment. I waited and dwelt in it, and did not make a mistake for my Father. Do not say that the Mana has forgotten what he was told. The man was missing what he owed to his homeland with the power and speech of Mana. He asks and reaches out to his Father. He asks and reaches. He got rid of me and took me out of the world. He took me out and didn't leave me there, and there was no lack or lack in me. My gentle Father knew that lack, and lack was not found about me. I said, if you like it, I will come and see your form. My Father sent me a messenger, and freed me from the world. He freed me from the criminals and all the counterfeiters. Of all who are full of sword and battle, they talk about violence and deceit. He lifted me up to the house of life, and set me up under the lights. Every single one praises and exalts me. Blessed and blessed be you, Mana, who held up the glory of your Father, and you got rid of them. You came and set up with us. You came to us and straightened up, came and spoke with our speech as it was. And blessed be the great life in the light. 12th piece. I am a Mana of the great life. I am a Mana of mighty life. I am a Mana of the great life. They went and took me to the Tibble. They went and took me to the Tibble, the house that the liars built, the house that was built by the lingerers. The counterfeiters live in it. There was no knower who knew me, no knowledgeable person who would have knowledge of me. There was no righteous whose speech resembled that of the Uthras. How should I live in the house that the lingerer built? Counterfeiters live in it. They are full of greed. If you, the king of the great, like it, set up a waystone for me. Set up a waystone for me, and in front of the waystone a large dam. Create me a collar, create a collar for me. When I sleep, he wakes me up. If I stumble, he lifts me up. When the seven hit me, heal me and lift me up. How the man stands there and seeks to clarify himself. His helper came to him. His great helper approached. He went there and set up a waystone for him. He went and set up a waystone for him, and in front of and set up a dam. He was a helper to him. He was a caller to him. When he slept, his prayer woke him up, and he stumbled, his praise lifted him up. When the seven beat him, his hidden power made him a healer. He became his healer. He lifted him up and straightened him up. He made a straight path for him. He showed him and set up a path for him and a bridge so that he may ascend to his place. Come, come, manna, come on, climb up on your path. Come on, climb up on your path. Come on, step on your way of life. Come on, step on your way of life, because I became your helper. I took you out of the world of darkness, set you up on your throne on high. I set up your throne on high because you endured persecution in the world. Because you endured the persecution, we will forgive you all the sins. Be gracious, Lord of noble bliss, Lord of noble bliss, who sits there and keeps the Uthras right, and blessed be the great life. 13th piece. I am a manna of the great life. I am a manna of the mighty life. I am a manna of the great life. Who brought me here? Who brought me here among the sinister outrages? How shall my heart bear it? How should I endure the persecution of the world? How should I live with lions, with devouring dragons? How am I supposed to live with the bad ones, who let go of evil every day? Every day they let go of evil. Every day they let go of horrors. Every day they let go of horrors and say, we want to frighten the manna. Yes, we want to scare him so he will be humiliated with us. So he will be humiliated with us, and then we stand over him. Yes, we want to scare him. Then we want to be able to dwell among the works of our hands. The manna with his loud mouth then spoke to the planets. By the power of my high Father, your terror will not come upon me. By the power of my Father's sayings, your fear does not strike me. By the power of my great helper, I will stand over you. I am greater than you, and my speech is more miraculous than yours. The proverbs are miraculous, who came from my Father's treasury. Everyone whines and sprinkled dust on them. Dust they scattered on their heads and tore the garments of their lust. They glowed in their evil embers, and they were angry with themselves. How could we say that we would destroy the manna among us? When the planets spoke like this, a voice came from the house of the great life. A voice came from the house of the great life and called the manna and woke him up. She called and woke the manna. He got up and stood over her. He stood up and rose above her and pronounced a rebuke against them. Go away and disappear from me, you wicked cut-off ones, you perishing ones. The light is not counted to the darkness. No firmness is granted to sinners. Would firmness be granted to sinners, so the pursuit would have no value. The pursuit would have no meaning. She would not have been left here. You did not accept anything from him to distribute it in different parts. The manna in securing his eyes, he stood up and took his place. Then my helper came. He came to me. He reached me and made me a protector. He rebuked the angels. If only you did not come to me with passing words. He knew the great life. He knew the great, and he knew the great one. What the manna endured, many things admirably, that much the manna endured. Therefore his protector came and came to him. His helper redeemed him. He hugged him. He lifted him up. He held tight and endured for a long time, like that one had stayed there. Come, come, Mana, we want to bring you to the house of the great life. In the great house we want to bring you. Come on, tell the mighty one. Come on, tell the great one what the seven did to you, what they wanted to cut you off from themselves to stand over you. Yes, the Mana broke up with his Uthra, and he came before the mighty life. He stood there, the mighty one, and told him what the seven did to him. Don't you know, great one, don't you know, great one, don't you know, great one, that I rebuked the seven? Despite her strength I rebuked her, and the seven sank down under me. Down below me the seven sank, and I stood over them. Above them I stood. Then my helper came and came to me. My helper came to me and reached me. It came to me and reached me, my guide. It arrived, and my guide appeared to me, my protector, my helper and guide. He hugged me, and I came to you, and I tell you what the seven did to me. Then the Great One blesses me and preserves me, the mighty. How did you endure and preserve until the order to you was fulfilled, until your separation came and you were freed from the hands of the tax collectors? The Great One looked at him and loved him. The Uthras of light honored him, and blessed be life. 14th piece. I am a Mana of the great life. I am a Mana of mighty life. I am a Mana of the great life. They drove him away from the house of his brothers and sent him into this world. Into this world they sent him to come and live in the desolate wasteland, to come and guard the wasteland. The planets peered out and caught sight of him. The planets peered out and caught sight of him. They are wrong and twisted. Her mouth is open, it is like the soup sea. Their lips are like the consuming fire. Their smell is ugly and disgusting. How wicked and rejected they are. When I saw her I was afraid, and fear came over me. I fell into fear, and fear came over at me, because my helper is not with me. My helper is not with me. He is not there. If only I didn't get cut off. But the great life knew. The fear had come over the man. Then came the call of the great helper, who cried out to the Mana in the world. He spoke to him. What did you see, Adam, that you were afraid? Why did you fear and anxiety come over you when you saw the ugly angels? So I will grant you their prostration because of the ugly devas that scared you. I want to tell you with which they will be tied up. Over her mouth, which is like the sea, the soup sea, their own darkness will come. Over their lips the devouring fire is equal, and will come a great bonding. The voice of the gentle Mana, who calls his helper, he speaks to him. My father, what right order prevailed? Why did Tahil come out of his place? Why did Tahil emerge from his place? Why did he sow evil seeds and create worthless tongues? Then came the voice of the great helper, who cried to the Mana in the world, Be calm and be silent, Adam, and the rest of the good ones embrace you. Watch when it hurts and worries you. See to it that you do not curse Tahil. Do not curse Tahil Uthra, the Uthra who has separated himself from our midst, the Uthra who has separated himself from our midst and then created the worthless tongues. He is Abathur's son, whose parents do not condemn him to darkness. When this world passes away and the firmament of angels is rolled up, when rolled up the angels' firmament and the sun and moon pass away, when the sun and moon pass away, and shine and brightness will be taken from them. If shine and brightness are taken from them, the keepers take care of it, and the stars as a whole are no longer a glimmer. When these works pass away, Tahil's robe will be adjusted. The Tahil will have his robe adjusted, and they will baptize him here in the Jordan. Here in the Jordan they will baptize him, and he will forget all the persecution he has endured. Then Tahil and you, Mana, in Ashkinta, then he will become your king, O Mana, and you will call him your king. So the helper spoke, and the Mana replied to him. When he had to endure persecution and malice, didn't he curse Tahil after all? But he forgave him his sins and transgressions. He spoke, Look at me, helper, look at me, reach me, come to me and redeem me. Show me my way, which all my brothers go. When the helper heard his call, he heard him from the fruits of splendor. He seized him by the right side and led him past the guard houses. He held him past the guard houses and led him past the carriage. The dare he let him pass and brought him near the sons of salvation. He brought him close to the sons of salvation and had led him over the streams of water. He led him over the streams of water, and he ascended with him to the house of life. When he saw him, it loved him, wrapped him up, and put him on his throne, and blessed be life. 15th piece. I am a man of great life. I am a manna of mighty life. I am a man of great life. Up, go to the house of the seven. Up, go to the house of the seven, the vain rebels of darkness. The vain rebels of darkness are sinister, and there is no light among them. When you send me to the house of the seven, teach me about the works you practice. They practice void works, and the outlaw of life is not with them. They are about beautiful, and the outlaw of are they about beautiful, and is the outflow of life with you? Are they about beautiful? Then I will send you among them. For this we send you there, so that your works become beautiful. Go, fall into the hull, and they will be without reason. The man did not change anything about him. What the great ones told him, he left their midst, and went and came to the house of the planets. He went there and came to the house of the planets, and he saw that their works were of no avail. Their works are no good for anything, and the outflow of life is not with them. He came and fell into the hull, and shone more than all they had and shone more than all. They opened their mouths, but they all stayed on their way. They all stayed seated on their way, and the cursed ones do not know what to say to him. Then the manna opened his mouth and spoke to the dull cursed. O you stupid cursed ones, do you have a manna like me? Do you have a manna? Do you have a form like my form? Are you good? Is your figure right? Was among you the outflow of life? Was there a man like me among you? The seven bowed their heads and chatted with each other. Let's grab the manna. We want to tie him up and throw him into our net. We want to include him in our throwing net, in our lead, and put our darkness. Then the manna opened his mouth and spoke to the planets. I will take you, planets, there, that your hand may not fall on me. I will not get into your network. Don't get caught by your casting net. Your darkness will not devour me, and your lead will not put me down. All of you, as much as you are, you will be entangled in your meshes and nets. I set my purpose after life, and my mind was based on strength and enlightenment, who gave me the great life from my place. While your figure is ugly, my figure is miraculous. I was victorious because the great life commissioned me, and they are victorious to a great extent. You are contemptible and disgraceful. Where did you get the root and the victory so that you would be victorious with it? I rise to my place. You will descend without ascending. The manna dressed in white rose up and sat on the height. At the height the man sits and calls the man the helper. Come, my helper, lift me up. They couldn't hold me back in their space. I escaped their nets and their lead in which they wanted to put me. You spoke to me, and I held out. Now come quickly to me and lift me up. The helper consulted with life to bring him the shine of light. Grant me shining, I will go and clothe the manna in it. I want to lift up the manna, bring him to bring him to you. I want to bring him to you and rejoice in this, for he has escaped from their nets. For he has escaped from their nets and did not remain in their lead. The man jumps and is happy. He jumped up and dressed in white. He jumped up and dressed in white. He climbed up and sat on the height. The moon is sitting on the height. He speaks and calls me and speaks to me. I stayed firm and persevered. Now come quickly to me and lift me up. Up, go there, bring the manna here, bring him here so that he may be raised up with us. He dwells in our praise. He will be raised up among us. Let us rejoice in him, and he will love us and bless us with our praise. For you, the life of life, became full, and the manna found what he was looking for, and blessed be life. 16th piece. I am a manna of the great life. I am a manna of mighty life. I am a manna of the great life, who sits in the shining treasury. In the shining treasury he sits and speaks with the speech of the Uthras. He speaks with the praise of the mighty, and they speak to him with words, whose one is more miraculous than the other. How the manna stands and seeks to clarify himself, and lifted him up, it spoke to him. Come on, I want to talk to you, manna. Come to me, I want to teach you. I appeared before you, say what you wish. Then it spoke to him, the world is created by blend work. Get up, get down, and go to her. If you don't go down, who should be her helper? Who shall cast splendor over them? Who shall shine upon them, and not to allow the trunk to be cut off? The consuming fire became fierce and kindled the fire. I want to leave and descend to the world. What kind of works are you putting on me? A breakup, a descent to the world, to go there and grow up in the body, to go there and grow up in the body in the garb that you are commanded to wear. Go and grow up among the mysteries, and let the mysteries shine through you. Through you let the mysteries shine. Let your tribe be strengthened. Let your tribe ascend to its place, and the measure of the world is fulfilled. Let the measure of the world be fulfilled, and 2 lights are to guard them. Let them guard 2 luminaries, and shine to a great extent. Through your splendor the house will be guarded, and through you the world will be established. You shall be guarded by louder guards. Your root will rise up and rise up the victory which I have distributed in your place. The man did not change anything about it, what the great life commanded him. He entered the body in the garb that befolded it to him. He lived in the trunk, and the mystery shone through him. He bowed to the great, and bowed to the mighty one. He bowed to the great that will show himself to you and to me. It will show himself to you and to me, for there was no lie between you and me, and blessed be life. 17th piece. I am a mana of the great life. I am a mana of mighty life. I am a mana of the great life. There is no such thing as infidelity and treachery. There is no infidelity and treachery in me. No talk of rape. I wavered and did not wink, and did not dwell among the guilty as the guilty. In what I sinned against life, against the great one that is enthroned there. In what have I sinned against the hidden, that it threw me into captivity and exile, into the captivity into which the aeons brought me, in the robbery that the worlds committed on me. If only they had not sent me in your garb to the robbery committed by the aeons. We did not say that you, mana, in the captivity of the aeons, that you should get into the captivity of the aeons. Not that the world should rob you. Rather, it is dear to us that you may remain firm and endure and not be caught. Listen to the call we are calling you. I have confidence in you, trusting in us. You will ascend with us to your place. You will be raised up behind us, and we will bless you. According to what you, great life, told me, a voice comes to me every day, calling a voice every day, which wakes me up so that I don't stumble. When you call me, do not catch me in the evil worlds. The evil worlds don't catch me, and I don't get into the robbery of the eons. The great life liked what he had said to him. Daily the voice, the strength and speech created and sent it to me. It created and sent me the voice and power of speech, and what the great sent me, I woke up my heart so that I would not stumble. As long as he heard the call of life, he did not change what the mighty commanded him. I endured so long when the great one wanted it. When the great one wants me, it will keep me in its treasury. It will say to me, come, mana, who let you be taught, and from the world many things we will teach you, and we will support you, and forgive you your sin and guilt. Sin and guilt we will forgive you, because you listen to us, and from the world of many things life is victorious. 18th piece. I am a mana of the great life. I am a mana of the mighty life. I am a mana of the great life. Who brought me out of the house of life? From the house of life who brought me? Who sent me to the Tibble and let me live in it? Who let me live in the Tibble? Who made me sit in the house of my enemies? Who made me sit in the house of my enemies, that my treasurers know nothing of me? My treasurers don't know about me, that I may be placed in the house of my enemies. The Uthra went and came until he got to the physical trunk. He got to the physical trunk, then he spoke to the hidden Adam. O hidden Adam, who brought you here from the house of life? Who brought you here from the house of life? Who sent you to the Tibble and let you live there? Who sent you and let you live in the Tibble? Who made you sit in the house of your enemies? Who made you sit in the house of your enemies, that your treasurers know nothing of you? Don't your treasurers know about you, that you may be placed in the house of your enemies? If the great knew of you, if the mighty knew of you, if the great knew of you, if only it hadn't forced you out of its midst, it would not have called you away from its midst. Do not let yourself live in this Tibble. It would not have let you live in this Tibble. Do not enter into the house of your enemies. Then the hidden Adam spoke, and answered the man who asked him. My Father, the Great One, knows about me, the mighty knowledge of me, the great light of me, the world which is to come we cannot suppress. When he heard this from him, he rejoiced in it beyond measure. He had brought him here. Then he became his guide to the hereafter. He stripped him of his robe and clothed him with his own, and led him there and lifted him up, and set him up in the house of life, and caught him by the right hand, life is great, and handed him over to his own treasurers. His treasurers were pleased with this. They became his guardians. They became his guardians. They brought him into their treasure house and hid him, and life is victorious. 19th piece. I am a mana of the great life. I am a mana of tremendous life. I am a mana of the great life. From the treasury of life, something rests on me. I shine through my Father's speech by praising the man, my Creator. When some of his life's treasures rested on me, he asked me for it from his treasury. When he wanted me out of his treasury, it sent me to this world. When I came out of his treasure house, I looked and saw the world. I looked and saw the world. She is ugly, and her figure is misshapen. I scolded and rejected. I despise the men who created them. I'm talking to you. How should I leave the quiet mysteries and enter into the seditious mysteries? How shall I leave the praise of my fathers and fall into the sorrows of the vain garment? How should I leave the truth of the Great One and live in a decrepit trunk? How Adam stands there and seeks to clarify himself. The man came, his helper. The high helper came to him, who carried him into a piece of rich luster. He spoke to him, "Put your robe on so that you stand firm in your own splendor. Do not forget what the great life commands you, and do not be called a culprit with him. Enter and live in this trunk from which the tribe should emerge. From it shall the tribe come forth and maintain inventory." Then Adam opened his mouth and spoke to his helper. "What strength do you give me in abundance that I put on this robe? With what support do you support me in the tibble that I should live in a dilapidated house?" Then they responded to him, "Your power is the power of the great life. Your enlightenment is created from their place. The men who created your garment serve you until you leave. That's what I came to and lived in, and do not deviate from what my helpers commanded me. I washed my hands and worshipped life. I went there and came into the world. They stopped and blessed me, the wicked, the cut off, the perishing, but I scolded and rejected them. I despised them, each one individually. I am talking to you, who is blessed with the blessings of the great, and does not need the blessing of the ephemeral. When you heard this from me, they saw themselves as inferior. As inferior they looked at each other, and everyone fell into thought. Everyone fell into evil thoughts, and made evil plans against me, Adam. They spoke, "Well, we want to work on it. We want to inhibit it and make him equal to us. We want to make him like us, because now he is away from us." Adam sings hymns and seeks to enlighten himself in this sense. He speaks, "What do you want to do to me, shameful? Where do my eyes look up to my place? My eyes look up to my place, and I shine through the praise of my Creator. As long as I am among you, what do you say about me and your plans? Soon the great Uthra comes to me. Here comes the man, my helper. He speaks to me, get up with me, Adam, that they may not cut you off with the passing mysteries. Don't let the mysteries of the blazing fire capture you. It burns and burns. Get up, put on the robe of the living fire, which is like glory. Get up, climb up to your treasure house. Do not fall at their instigations and indebtedness." Adam then got up and ascended to the house of life. He left the mysteries of this world. Adam spoke to the great life. "I was outside of you was I. Then I was redeemed and ascended. Blessed be the man who saved me and lifted me up. Blessed be you, great life, because you sent me this helper. Beautiful you have ascended, and whoever comes after you will ascend beautifully. The age became deficient, and persecution is abundantly unleashed against them. You are beautiful, Adam, ascended, and whoever is able will ascend after you. Life is held high and is victorious, and victorious is Mandadahaya and his helpers." 20th piece. I am a man of the great life. I am a mana of mighty life. I am a mana of the great life. I was among hidden nurses, among the hidden nurses I stayed, who are wondrous blessings and established, who will be blessed with their blessings and do not perish. Anyone who hears your speech will not fall into a trap, who enlightens himself through their praise will not fall on the learners of the leaders of the eons. Mana speaks to the seven. I do not live among you I do not live, and do not stumble through your impulses. I will not get into your captivity, and do not take anything from you. Nothing made me wise of your prudence, and your dazzling work is not preserved with me. I am not learning anything from your ugly teaching, and do not practice any of your works altogether, for I am not of you. I pointed my lips at you and despised all your works. I spring from you the trappings that you cast into the world, all of your knitting and your hoops and all of your chains. I am going to my place and hear the speech of my nurses. I hear the speech of my hidden nurses, who are wondrous, blessed, and established. I shine through your robe, and I am wise by their wisdom. I am learning what you have in your heart, and do everything they do, and life is victorious. 21st piece. I am a man of the great life. I am a man of mighty life. I am a man of the great life. I shine through the praise of my Creator. When they took me into captivity and set me into this world and brought me, that's when they set me to the world of criminals, who are all cut off and doomed, in the world whose shape is ugly, and theirs does not light up. Your servants have no gear, all their creatures have no luster. They are not gentle, not calm, and there is no commonality among them. Their shape is dark, and their appearance is dark. Their houses have sunk, and they are all sitting in the wasteland. They turned back and took on blackness. All are ugly and black. In a whisper they all stand there. Evil criminals who are full. What is it good for me to vouch for you and to be counted among you? I am to be cut off by your wickedness and sink down among you. What does it please me to see your haze? Where does everyone who sees him fall? What is it good for me that I saw your works? Who do you have a pure name? I am going to the house of life. Why should I love your space? The planets are there and are tied up with shackles and talk. When Adam escaped from us and broke our guard houses, when Adam ascended from us, our glory was quickly taken away from us. Our splendor was quickly taken away from us, and ours it was as if he had never been there. He rose and ascended to the house of life. They washed him in the Jordan and kept him safe. They washed him and kept him in the Jordan. They laid their rights on him. They baptized him with their baptism and strengthened him by their pure words. Life is held and is victorious, and victorious is the man who went there. 22nd piece. I am a manna of the great life. I am a manna of the mighty life. I am a manna of the great life. I was in the hidden treasure house. In the hidden treasure house I was, among the expensive treasurers. I hadn't seen the treasurer yet, which my Creator opened and which he marveled at. I hadn't seen the treasury yet, not yet proclaimed in my enlightenment. I hadn't seen the treasure yet. So they took me there and sent me to this world. How beautiful is what I looked. How ugly is what you then showed me. I had seen enlightenment in abundance, so they took me there and showed me the darkness. When should I escape the darkness you showed me? When should I escape her, that I may go and see what I have seen beyond? So the manna spoke, and his voice went up to the house of life. His voice rose to the house of life. His submission ascended to the house of the mighty life. It spoke to him, you endure many things, then you will soon look at your sweetheart. Soon you will look at your treasure, with your father and opened and stared which your father opened and stared at. Direct your thoughts away from the Tibble, and we will direct our thoughts to you from here. Do you pray from the Tibble, and we will pray for you a prayer rich and great. You, manna, who watched life, see to it that you do not love death. See to it that you do not love death and witness wrong speech. Don't love things of lust, and do not let down the light shine. Don't forget the great ones. Do not forget what you wanted to look at and did not look and did not see. When the manna heard this, he pursed his lips over the world. He despised Rba, and then the 7 figures that dwelt with him. He despised the planets, how they sit in their carriages. He despised the booger from which all ugly things emanate. He left her full of contempt. He went away and went to his place, while all of his guards sat there in amazement. He spoke, "I want to go and see what the great life has for me, and see the treasury of the mighty life. I want to go and see the treasury which my father opened and looked at." Soon the pure treasurer came. He took me away from here and freed me from here and lifted me up to his treasure house. He spoke, "Come, come, Mana, come, look at the preciousness. Come on, look at the preciousness which you wanted to look and did not see. You have endured well, Mana. You freed yourself well and ascended." The Mana rejoices in preciousness and bliss and blesses the mighty life. He speaks to him, "When I have ascended, I will tell you what will become of your living fire. Will, when yours is, be left behind in the judgment of the worlds, part of your harvest will fall into the hands of the planets. You have spoken and realized, Mana. Go, sit on your throne. We know well that this starts from the second, and blessed be life. 23rd piece. I am a man of great life. I am a Mana of mighty life. I am a Mana of the great life, which I shine in expensive gloss, who planted me, sent me, and brought into the deception of this world, who threw me in the skirt, the physical skirt, that I may not get out of the pain and infirmity, who showed me their deception, who puts me in their glare, who removed me from the faith, who threw me under the wrong tongues, who threw me under the wrong tongues where there is no shadow of straightness, who threw me under the angry, who are all full of anger and lie and deception. If only I don't go and then don't look at my place, the place of light. If only I did not forget them, the upper ones, and do evil deeds. If only I don't forget the gentleness which life has called and taught me. The pernicious secrets pressed on me, and the secrets of the place of light cannot see me. The voice of my pure Redeemer is the voice of the man, my helper. The voice of my pure Redeemer he taught with his voice and let me hear. He loaded a pure load on me, at the sight of which the worlds shake. He speaks, "I have provided you. If you want to climb up here, when they see you, you will submit to them. When they are angry, be thou Mana full of rest. Do not heat up, do not be angry, and do not sin, and do not make a mistake on your robe. Crouch under your pure load and seek rest in the enlightenment that is granted to you. Behold your hidden glory and escape from the faulty rock. Confess the right believers who all stop before you. When you act like this, your garment will be set up in its place. In his place your robe will be erected, and you will be strengthened with us." When the Mana heard this, life made sense to him. It spoke to him, "Be faithful and steadfast, then you will ascend and see the mighty ones. Life is held high and is victorious, and victorious is the man who went there." 24th piece. I am a man of great life. I am a Mana of mighty life. I am a Mana of the great life, which they brought from the house of the great life. They brought me out of the house of the great. I have come to the tribe, too. The trunk I came, and to keep away the faulty that was there. When Adam came out of the house of life and looked at the planets and saw him, they looked and saw the planets. They are wrong and twisted. When the planets saw him, Adam did not know what to say to them. As he stands in his place, he is frightened. As he stands in his place, he frightened her. Then he passed by and spoke to them. "O you twisted eyes, why do you rise to the pure? O you wicked mouth, what do you want to say to the right tongue? O you who take an end, what do you want to learn from the true lips? O you defective and cut off, what do you want to learn from the shining figure? It is not for your sake that I came here. Life has sent me here. It is not for your sake that I came here. Those who have not been given any advice from life. The second reason I came, so that his works do not perish. His works shall not perish because his rights are pure." When they heard this from him, they became his carers. One created water, another created wind. One created wind and added a crown together for everyone. Every single one of them gave him shine, and they raised him with food. He in turn enlightened her without stopping. They were his carers, but from time to time they let go to fear against him. Then the Mana prays an enlightenment, and the fear will not be let go against him. praising Adam, prayed for the great life. Send me this helper. Only for a short time he stayed among them. Soon he escaped from her hands. He escaped the lacking. He rose away from the attacks. You see its rich luster, how bright light surrounds him. He climbed up and looked at the pure one who came to him. He spoke to her, "Come, come, gentle helper, for your sake I dwelt in the world. Because of your brilliance and your speech, no fear was let loose against me." She caught Adam by the right and ascended and raised him up in her Shkinta, in the place where the great life dwells, and there shine and shape are bright. The Adam you handed over to me, he is with you again. Life blessed him with his pure mouth and spoke kindly to him. Blessed be you and your Creator who created you. This one manna I brought to you, and blessed be life. 25th piece. I am a manna of the great life. I am a manna of tremendous life. I am a manna of the great life. Who took me away from my place? From my place, who took me away? Who let me live in the house of the planets? In the house of the planets who let me live, that the wicked are angry with me. The wicked are angry with me, and every day they think evil against me. They think in malice against me and speak. We want to cut him off and leave him with us. We want to cut him off and leave him with us and shut off from its places of origin. We want to block him from his place of origin, and he shall be called our share. Adam thinks and talks. Maybe they condemn me. Maybe they condemn me here and cut me off from my father's place of origin. How Adam stands and thinks. His helper comes to him. His helper comes to him, the Uthra who brought him here. He speaks to him according to the house in which you live. Why do you ask? You don't know, Adam, that it happens as you said. In secret we know that you will soon leave it, and he ascended to us. You climb up to us and live in our Shkinta. When Adam heard this, he no longer asked about the ephemeral. He no longer asked about those who built the dilapidated house. He waited and lived in it. But soon he flew up and got to his place, the place from which he was created, the place from which he was created and in which his form was illuminated. Adam is happy in his sense and is clarified himself in his sense. How wonderful is what my father said to me. How wonderful what the great life taught me. Go to your planet, be a part of your own homes. Go, be a share of your houses, and let your houses be your portion. I ascend with the root of my father, while the house is left to you. Blessed is life, victorious is the life, that the friends do not damn his name. 26th piece. I am a man of the great life. I am a manna of the mighty life. I am a manna of the great life. Here among the eons I stayed. Here I stayed among the eons, and Hybel was a nurse to me. A nurse was Hybel to me, and he was my pure helper, the son of the rich gloss, and his strength was a support for me. He was a support for me, he strengthened me, and he delivered me from the world. He saved me from the hand in the works of the seven. He always showed me the way, and created a path for me to the place of light. He lifted me up with him, and did not leave me in the empty space. He clothed me with a robe of splendor, and got me out of the world of swagger, and life is victorious. 27th piece. I am a manna of the great life. I am a manna of mighty life. I am a manna of the great life. Who took me away from my place? From my place who took me away? Who threw me between the mountains? Who rushed me between the mountains? And who threw me into the place of death? In the place of death who threw me? Who separated me from life? Who separated me from life that is abundant without shortage? As the manna ponders, his helper came to him. His helper approached him, who showed him the wreath that is entrusted to him, showed him the louder treasure, who was founded and created in his place. When you let go of life, if it hadn't given you these wreaths, it would not have granted you these wreaths. This treasure was created for you. To you, manna, it is certain, that you may endure and dwell in the world. The works are to become a noose, which your father, the second, has created. Every time it gets hard for you, our call will come to you. He will get to you. Don't change what we told you. The three Uthras supported the manna, and he, the manna, found rest in his enlightenment. He, the manna, found rest in his enlightenment. He firmly received and set his mind. He received his meaning firmly. He lived and lived in the world whose disgust has no end. They grabbed the man with all their strength and held him with bonds. They took him out of the body and set him up in his place. They opened the gate of light for him and showed him the ways of safety. He goes there while his strength is always growing, and praise the men who taught him. He praises the turban he shows him, the garments of splendor he put on him. He praises his helper, by whose power he has been able to dwell in the world. Life is held high and is victorious, and victorious is the man who went there. 28th piece. I am a manna of the great life. I am a man of tremendous life. I am a manna of the great life, who took me away from my place who took me away in the house of the planets, who let me live in the house of the planets, who threw me into the defectiveness, who threw me into the place that is full of disgraces, where all are full of deception and deceit, who included me in their mysteries, who tied me up with their chains, who put me in her great footblock, who showed them to me, who threw me into her walls, who closed their gate before me, who put me together with their customs officers and led me past their guard-houses. When I saw her I was startled, and fear came over me. I was frightened, I was overcome with fear, and I said to myself that I forget that the mighty life ordered me. How the manna stands and ponders, his helper came to him. I came to you so that you may dwell among the works of your hands. If you are among them, beware of spoiling your soul. Be careful not to commit their sins that will be counted with their end. If you stay away from them, they won't be able to harm you. They will not hold you with their clasps. They will not lead you on the way. I will quickly deliver you from them, and of the vain ones, and of the dark walls, who are a part of the ephemeral. The life of your works in true love I will lift you up. I will reveal to you Sam, the hidden one, as well as his good name, in which you stayed. I will show you the three pure things, which are wondrous and otherworldly. Your heart that hurts you will find rest, and you will forget about the persecution of the world. The manna blesses and praises his great helper. If you show me these things, why should I live with the ephemeral? His measure became full, and his time came. Then the manna ascended to his place. The manna ascended to his place, and the gentle Uthras went to meet him. The Uthras went to meet him. They brought him shine, light and shine. They clothed him with splendor, of that with which they clothed themselves in their place. They covered him with a turban of light. From the way they are covered in their places. They opened the door with their praise. Yes, so we loved and honored you, because you freed yourself and ascended from the world. You freed yourself and ascended from them, and you were raised up among us in glory. Life is held high and is victorious, and victorious is the man who went there. Third book. In the name of the great life, may the community and the blessed and a remission of sins be granted to me, my wife, and my children, as well as the souls of our fathers, our masters, our brothers, and our sisters who have left their bodies. They are separated, and they are still in their bodies. O gentle manna, O orderly, well-ordered manna, O gentle manna, may helpers come with you until the scales weigh works and wages. First piece. In the name of the great life, be glorified in the noble light. After the firmament stretched out, after the earth is sealed, after the sun came, after the moon reveals itself, after the 7 came, after these 12 had gone there, they formed the body of Adam, but they did not put a soul in him. Because of Adam's body, the soul came from the house of the great life. From the house of the great life came the soul, and the 3 Uthras came with her. With her came the 3 Uthras, and put them outside the body. Outside the body they put them. They want to introduce it into the body, but it does not enter. They want to introduce it into the body, but it does not enter. She cries, whines, and pours out in tears. To you I speak, you Uthras, my brothers, just let me wait an hour a day. Only 1 hour a day let me wait, so that I can let my voice rise to the place of light. I want to speak to the Uthras, my brothers. What have I sinned among you? What have I sinned among you, that you beguiled me and took me away from your midst? You brought me out of my home and into captivity. I was beguiled and taken away from my father's house. I want to talk to Manda Dehaya. Send a good one to me quickly. Quickly send a good one to me, that he may deliver me from the world. He destroyed the building, and deliver the body to its Lord. He lifts me up to the place of life, where my roots stood before, so that the wicked do not blind me. Sinners do not make me deaf, so that the evil ones do not blind me, and do not know where I came from. So that you don't make me deaf by your echoes, and I do not hear what they say about me. Now the peoples, borders, and tongues oppress me, and throw me into the sea of bile. Now idolatry oppresses me, and I surrender to every city. Now the evil billers are tying together, and the cursed shams peek through my mouth. They teach me the voice of apostasy, and I forget my Lord from my mind. They throw me into a deep well, into which the wicked fall without rising. The dragons devour me, and they take me to the residences of revelry, and am caught in music. Everyone is talking to her, life's guiltless soul. Everyone is talking to her, messenger of all lights. Everyone is talking to her, the life of a guiltless soul. O soul, get up, go there, enter the body, and let yourself be imprisoned in the palace. The grim lion will be captured by you. The grim lion, the dragon, will be captured by you. The evil one will be killed in his place. Through you the king of darkness will be bound, whose strength no one has grown. A jetter speaks to her, innocent of life, soul. Everyone is speaking to you. The messenger of all lights, good one, if you wish me to go, entering the body, and be trapped in the palace, give me a high weapon, that I may turn away my persecutors from me. Everyone is talking to her, messenger of all lights. Everyone is talking to her, life's guiltless soul. What high weapon do you wish, soul, that we grant them to you from the treasury of life? Your weapon is Nazarutha, the true words that have come to you from the place of light. They also spoke to her, for your sake, soul, this firmament has been stretched out. This firmament has been stretched out, and stars were formed in it. For your sake, soul, did this mainland arise. Did this mainland come into being. The compaction formed and fell into the water. For your sake, soul, the sun came. For your sake, soul, the moon revealed itself. For your sake, soul, the 7 came, and these 12 went here. The 4 winds were created, and the ether that blows on you. Wisdom was poured into your heart, that you may remember your Lord and praise him. Now comes the time and the date and the time will come. Years fade away like shadows, and months fly by like the dawn. Years, days, months, times, hours, they all sink down and pass away as if they had never been there. The vines of joy are torn out, and her singing goes there and gets lost. The gold is lost, and the silver is searched for and not found. The nobles and gentlemen are separated from the world in her heartache. You acquire and leave it to your children. They go there and simmer in the fire, the children of the wretched and persecuted, leaving the world in mourning. The tibial passes and comes to an end in the depths of the stench of darkness. In the name of my lords, Manda Dahaya, on his strength, I went and entered the body. I went there and entered the body, and had me imprisoned in the palace. From the day I entered the body, I was his painter in the ages, his wife in the ages I was, and the wicked were angry with me from the depths. From the depths the wicked were angry with me, and they want the soul of life to go among them. Then I saw her, I held her away from the world. When Manda Dahaya saw me, he gave me strength. He made me dress with splendor and cover with expensive light. He laid a wreath of victories on me, whose leaves shine. He spoke, O soul, be careful with your speech, that they may not bind you in the house of the tax collectors. Life is held high and is victorious, and victorious is the man who went there. My meaning loved life, and my soul recognized the place of light. Second piece. By mistake I am the Uthras of light have provided me. I am mistaken, life has mistaken me. I am well aware that the Uthras of light have mistaken me. They provided me with the travel food of the Kushta. They equipped me with all their wisdom. Why was Tahil? Why did he create the world? Why did the plan come about, and why did they take me away from my place? They sent me to the world of impulses, which is full of knots and seals. She is full of fire and seeded with thorns and thistles. She is full of dazzle, full of lies and lies. The planets that live in it, they think evil of me every day. They are thinking against me in malice, and they say, we want to make his meaning ambiguous. From my heart filled with kushta, say, we want to let it stumble from us. From my eyes that look up, they say, they shall waver and unchaste. From my mouth that praises life, tell him to tell a lie. From my hands that give alms and present kushta, tell them to kill. From my mouth from my knees bowing to life, tell them to bow down to the seven. From my feet walking the paths of kushta and faith, tell them to go barefoot. I raised my eyes to the heights. With my soul I looked towards the house of life. When life heard my call, he sent a messenger to me. The guide who came to me brought me a magnificent robe. He revealed shining and showed it to me, and I put the smelly body down. He grabbed me by the area of my right and led me over to the streams of water. Over to the streams of water he led me. He guided me and based me on the image of life. He supported life. Life found its own. His own found life. And my soul, that of his ascension, found what it was looking for. Life is victorious, and victorious is the man who went here.